and we had the big Madrid Derby. And we're going to start there. Okay. For me, I love my cliches, as you know. I love mocking cliches. But I find that so many cliches apply to this one. Primarily, the game of two halves cliche.
Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that or writing it. I'm not too sure because even if it's not a great first half from a Real Madrid point of view, and I give you that, and obviously Atletico have the lead with that penalty, and we can talk about the controversy or not, etc., etc. I just didn't think that Atletico did much outside of that cross and that penalty. That was a penalty, but that was a lucky one too, because there's no way they can score from that cross anywhere and from that chance.
Yeah, well,
certainly not Samuel Lino.
We'll get to the pen, but I think the reason I would argue is if you're Simeone, that first half, this is the game plan you want, right? You limit Madrid to 7 shots, all of them bad shots.
Yeah. None on target.
You have none on target. You have got, I think the XG was like 0.23 or something. You sit, you play the waiting game, you wait for your opportunity, Griezmann, magic, whatever, mistake, and that's eventually what happened. So in that sense, from the game, but I didn't expect Atleti to go out there and take the game to them. From Real Madrid, and you could tell, and look, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but especially with that defense that he had out there, right?
Yeah.
Fran Garcia, Asensio, Lucas Vasquez, and Tchouaméni. You have to have a front four that actually work, because otherwise poor Ceballos and Valverde will get overrun.
Yeah.
What I saw from that front four in the first half, not all equally, but it was so disappointing. And we saw angry Carlo as well.
Yeah, I know you say that, and I thought certainly in the second half they stepped up everything, the energy and everything. But in the first half, there's not many times where the Atletico Madrid midfield outrun the Real Madrid midfield. There was not much from Atletico anyway, apart from the penalty. But again, it comes from that cross. They moved the ball okay there, but where I was disappointed with Atletico. This is a Real Madrid team that we've seen so many times under pressure, even at home. Even a team like Dortmund put them under pressure. Right? I'm not saying you should go to the Bernabeu and try to have the ball for 70%. But they are vulnerable defensively, especially with the back four that you mentioned. If you had Rudiger and Alaba and maybe Mendy at the top of his game and Carvajal, you would say, okay, different. But now, one, they're unbalanced, and we know that, we've seen it. And two, they've got defense like the C defense or the D defense even.
Maybe they would have done that if they hadn't, of course, scored first with that penalty minute 35. This is only going to fuel more Real Madrid TV complaining about referees and whatever. What's your take?
I just think, I know nothing can come out of that, where Lino is, when Tchouaméni stamps on his foot, where the ball is, and a penalty really should repair a situation in the box where there was a foul to prevent you from doing something with the ball, right? In that case, it's not there. However, there is contact there. So either we change the rules and said that contact to the box is not always a penalty, and it's to the referee to decide what is, the relevance of that contact. But he stamps on his foot still.
They've specifically said that anytime you step on somebody's foot, and by the way, you use the word stamp, which implies force and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was entirely incidental.
Yeah, completely.
Because Lino kind of is running forward towards the ball, and he's just trying to intercept the ball.
Yeah.
I know they passed this rule that it's always a foul, and they did it to prevent metatarsal injuries and whatever else. But I think it's clearly not intended for this. The referee's right there. The referee didn't judge it that way.
Yeah.
I don't see this as a situation where VAR needs to get involved, especially since, and we did this on the FC show, and then we blow it up. It's not entirely clear how much contact he actually makes with Lino's foot. It's when you kind of blow it up, it's only part of the foot. I don't know. We get way too granular for this, and I can understand why we're going to have more Real Madrid talk of conspiracies. Overall, I think both coaches can be unhappy and happy. So the standard question we ask after this is like, who should be happier with the draw, Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid? And then the answer is Barcelona. Yuck, yuck, yuck.
But still, Atletico Madrid, you go away at the Bernabeu and you get a point, you're happy with that. And from the game, you don't deserve more than a point anyway.
I think Yes, when you consider in the second half, Real
Yeah,
Madrid
they
had,
got
had a
battered
lot
in
of
the second
chances.
half.
Oblak made some huge saves.
Yeah.
Jude Bellingham had some big misses.
Yeah, he hit the
Uh,
woodwork.
But I think if you're Atleti, you can still send a positive message if you're Diego Simeone
Yeah,
to your
you got
players, which
points.
is we were away from home and we got a point.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
they had to really turn the screws on off. I also think I don't we're used to him talking about squad depth and his substitutions and stuff like that. And hindsight being 2020, we know the only living Sorloth in captivity is going to come on. But I think they got markedly worse when he came on.
Yeah, it's a tough game though. I think to make really tough game to make substitution. I think because the second half they were under so much pressure. They were not even. I don't even think they were passing the. I don't even think they were playing football. They were just defending and defending and defending and defending to get that point that they had. If there had been a goal down or 2-1 down, maybe they would have tried something different and they would have had to go for it. In that position, I just think you defend. And for him, I just felt a little bit because it felt like he was coming on, but what for really?
I would imagine the idea was
he would got anything, and he got nothing.
I would assume the idea with Sorloth was a set piece or
Yeah.
a big boot, hold the ball up,
True.
let your team come forward. But he was really struggling to do that. And I think part of the reason is actually while we're critical of the Real Madrid defense, and it's going to get even worse without Lucas Vazquez. Well, that's debatable because, as you know, I'm a Valverde right back all the way.
But then you don't have him in midfield.
And then I got to play Modric or Camavinga, who does not look fit at all when he came on.
Just coming back.
But I think part of the idea, I want to go back to this with Ancelotti and that first half. We were talking off air about the lack of movement. And you said, Atleti kept it tight and whatever. But I kind of feel like, how about we try something different? How about we find space? And it's not just the lack of tracking back, which, again, generally not there. And I think Julien actually, in the last outings, he improved a lot in terms of work rate and whatever.
Definitely.
I can see in a game like this, when Vini is literally just standing around, when Rodrigo's being chaotic, when Bellingham's not finding space, you can see Mbappe being like, hey, why should I Why should I be the one who turns into Heung-min Son and runs back and busts his backside?
Yeah, although Carlos seemed happy with them all on that front. It was still better than a lot of the things they've done before. And they had to.
I didn't seem too happy at halftime. I don't know.
At the end of the game, the second half was so much better. I think
Do you think... Okay, I know Carlo a little bit, and I'm not saying that this is what he did, but when he left them all out there, I genuinely believe that he read them the riot act at halftime and he lost his rag because he was really angry in the first half, and you could easily see that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think he said, you guys got us into this mess, and you, front four, you guys need to get us out of it, and I'm leaving you out there until it happens. Because if you look, I think Camavinga comes on with 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
He doesn't make any changes whatsoever.
He doesn't have many options either, to be fair.
No, but...
To come back into a game like this.
But I like the fact that he shifted the responsibility. I like to think he shifted the responsibility and the accountability on the players.
Yeah.
And I just don't think if they're playing Manchester City in midweek, I think if they're gonna have a chance to go and advance in this competition, they have to understand that with this midfield or lack thereof, and especially with this back line, the front four have to work. They have to work, or they're going to go out against better teams.
Yeah, it's been a problem. I don't know if the problem is more the pressing or the lack of, or it's just the organization. As soon as you lose the ball, so you get into shape and you don't leave your double pivot too exposed, because in front of them then you have Rodrigo, Vinicius and Bellingham coming back very quickly. So that line of three, for example, is there instead of just letting people run past them. There will be games where they need to do it more than others. And I agree with you. I think the City game, I would expect, it's not often that City are not the favorite in going to the game, but this is the case, really, because they have been that bad. Far worse than Real Madrid, really. And you could see easily City have, at times, long moment of possession, which Real Madrid will struggle with because their PPDA is ridiculous when they play top teams this season because they can't.
PPDA, for those who don't know, passes per defensive action.
So they struggle to recover the ball. So they let the other team do 10, 12, 15 passes before a Real Madrid player, whoever that is, gets the ball back, which is a lot. And so you could see City do that, but you could also see City, when Real Madrid are attacking, hitting them in transition so quickly and just exposing that lack of defensive transitions ability really from this Real Madrid team because they don't have it. But in this game, I think that's why I'm a bit disappointed by Simeone and Atletico because I think there was much more to do with the ball from Atleti's point of view. And in the second half, I don't think you can turn it on like this. In the second half, when they were under pressure, that was it. They could not come out of that pressure and they just had to absorb it as much as they could. And to be fair, they did well because Kylian scored in the 50th minute. And after that, I thought, okay, this is going to be a long 40 minutes for Atleti to defend and be on the back foot. Yeah. And they, thanks to Oblak mostly, they were okay in the end and got that point, but it could have really turned very differently.
And they were clearly exhausted at the end. You saw Juliano could hardly walk. I saw. But going back to the City game, I'm just going to throw this out there as an idea, but I'm wondering if this isn't the game where you switch it up again, throw them a bit of a curveball, and I've been saying this all season, but you play Bellingham in midfield. And the reason for it, I mean, Bellingham in midfield, maybe Brahim for Rodrigo on the right, and you understand that it's over two legs, and you leave it to Kylian and Vini. Not to play in the counter.
The four together.
What?
Because the debate will be.
Yeah, no.
Play the four of them.
I would rather play Brahim on the right if he's fit than Rodrigo, right? But what I'm saying is, I don't need Bellingham in a game like this. I don't need Bellingham to be the second striker or to be the de facto center forward and Kylian buzzing around.
Yeah.
In a game like this, where if it's 0-0, I can live with it. I would look for giving Vini and Kylian more responsibility, maybe even freelancing a little bit, because I think you really need that leadership and you need that physicality in the middle of the park. Because sure, you can put Modric in there, but Modric is 39 years old.
Yeah.
You know, can he give you 90 minutes at a close to Modric level? I don't know. And if Camavinga's not fit, or we get the Camavinga that we saw in the last 10 minutes last night, you're really going to have a serious, serious problem. Like, it's no joke.
Yeah, no. I agree with you.
And so this is where I think you need to go. It's like, Jude, you can be St. Jude, but you're going to do it in a different position in this game. I'm really curious to see if he does that.
I think he plays neither Rodrigo or Brahim from the start. I think he's going to play Asensio right back, and then Rudiger will come back and play centre back with Tchouaméni, and then he can play Valverde in midfield with and only Vini and Kylian up front. The two, some sort of front two between Vinicius and Kylian. I know it won't be a front two on paper because Vini will go a lot to the left, but they will have that and Bellingham with a free roll behind. I'd be very surprised if a game like this, especially the first leg, if it was the second leg and we knew what the first leg, what happened and who's chasing, who's not, etc. But for the first leg, I don't think Carlo can really take too many risks. And that four, as great as they are individually, Rodrigo, Jude, Kylian, Vini, etc., it's still very risky to play them together in some games.
Yeah,
it's still very risky.
Well, especially if
risk you would not take in
provide the work rate that they provided in the first 45 minutes on Saturday, which, by the way, also affected the whole stadium. I mean, I wasn't there; I was watching on television, but everybody remarked how just kind of low key it felt.
Yeah, the first half especially.
And
after the Mbappe goal,
of course, but it's I understand that. But you can't have that. You also need to do stuff to energize your fans and make sure that the fans become a factor in this game.
Yeah.
I thought that was missing as well.
I've got a completely pointless start on Kylian Mbappe, obviously.
Of course.
The greatest player in the world. He scored on his Madrid Derby debut, because that was his first. He didn't play the reverse fixture. And Cristiano didn't score on his first Madrid Derby. Vini didn't score on his first Madrid Derby. Karim didn't score on his first Madrid Derby. Jude Bellingham is still, after 6 Madrid Derbies, still hasn't scored in the Derby. That's all I'm just saying.
But I bet Antoine Griezmann scored in his first Madrid
Maybe,
derby.
I don't know. I only
I have
looked
no
on the
idea.
Madrid side.
Oh, I
But,
thought you
you
had
know.
data on all the French players
No,
who ever
just
played
Kylian, just
in
Kylian.
a Madrid derby. All right, this is where we have to play the percentage games to wrap this up
Yeah.
because it's not lost on anybody that Barcelona are now 2 points off the top. I think it's Real Madrid 50, Atleti 49,
Yeah.
Barcelona 48,
Yeah,
Athletic Bilbao 44.
yeah.
Um,
We love Athletic Club Bilbao.
you ready to do some percentages, Jules?
Yes, let me write it down. We should remind people on how, if two teams are level on points, how is decided.
Right. So if they're two, it goes to the head-to-head. Barcelona
Which
have the
right now-
head-to-head advantage over Real Madrid.
Yeah, the two.
Real
wins.
Madrid and Atletico, it's entirely even, so it's going to go to goal
1-1
difference.
and 1-1. Yeah,
I would assume Real Madrid might have the better goal difference, but maybe they don't. I don't know.
yeah. For now, I can't.
Okay,
remember.
so that's TBD.
Yeah, and for the Barca and Atletico Madrid, Atletico obviously went to Montjuic and won 2-1 with that solo late goal. So
It's
for
the
now,
only living Sorloth in
yeah,
captivity.
for
to
now
you.
they're ahead in that head-to-head, and the reverse fixture in Madrid will be on March 16th. So we'll know soon anyway. We'll
Right.
have the outcome of those head-to-heads. El Cholo Simeone says that Barcelona is the better team in the whole league, which I think he has a point. However, the way they play and their style and that energy and intensity that we've explained many times before, I think is more likely to make them drop points than the more defensive approach from Atletico, the more pragmatic maybe approach from Real Madrid. So I would go really tight, I won't lie. I would give our friends from Athletic Club de Bilbao a 1% chance.
Please don't go 33, 33, 33, because that is such a cop-out.
33, 33,
Oh,
33.
I knew you were going to do that.
It's perfect. What else do you want me to say? I think right now, 2.1 point difference.
I think it makes a difference, and for me, it's enough to demand that. I will also join you in giving Athletic Bilbao, Villarreal, the whole
Okay,
field.
so how do you
1%?
split the 99% left?
Well, I give Real Madrid a 35%
Okay,
chance.
oh my God. So you give them 35, I give them 33.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Well, because I'm not saying they're all equal. They have the advantage. Those 2 points are real. Right?
yeah.
Those
yeah,
2
yeah.
points are a thing.
They are, but it's
And
not
the
much
fact
either.
that the Barcelona Atletico Madrid game is going to be in Barcelona. I was about to say at the Camp Nou, but I'm sure it won't be there. That's also real. So for that reason, I'm going to go Real Madrid 35,
Yeah.
Barcelona
No, so
33.
it's in Madrid, the Atletico Madrid Barcelona on March 16th. Because
that's right.
Yeah, Atletico won at Montjuic.
Well, then check that. Then I'm going to go 35, 33, 31. Real
Okay.
Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Barcelona. There's a nice
We're not far.
symmetry
We're not-
there.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
not
but-
far,
yeah.
but calling it all equal, that's a bit of a cop-out. Come on, Jules.